Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to the sixth session of the talk series phase 4 on navigating cookware compatibility for eCooking. And we will start. I'll like to invite Mr. Krishna Kumar Sinha. Uh, Mr. Sinha holds a background in mechanical engineering with an MTech in production engineering, and he served the Ministry of Commerce and Industry for 35 years in various capacities, including roles in the automobile industry and export promotion cell. Over the last 16 years, he led FDI promotion for the Americas and CIS countries, gaining extensive experience in FDI policy, FIPV case analysis, and manufacturing, and also industrial policy. Mr. Krishna Kumar Sinha is currently advisor at Finovista. So I request you to please start the session and take it forward from here.
Thank you, Satyam. Good afternoon, good morning. On behalf of Team Finovista, I extend a very warm welcome to all participants and experts, speakers to this sixth session of the talk series phase 4. The topic of this session, as you must be aware of by now, is navigating cookware compatibility for electric cooking. And let me permit me to take you through a very small 2 slides description on the talk series. So, I mean, as you can see, that the first slide is the gives the title of the talk series session. This particular session, navigating cookware compatibility for e-cooking, and this is the 6th session of phase 4. So we have already completed 3 phases, and each having about 12 sessions. So, I mean, it has been a very successful journey throughout. Now, talking about modern energy, because the Finovista is the in-country partner of Modern Energy Cooking Services Program, which is a UK aid-funded, and it is led by Loughborough University, UK. The MECS program researches the socio-economic realities of transition from polluting fuels to a range of modern fuels. While the research covers several clean fuels, as we know, the evidence is pointing to the viability, cost effectiveness, and user satisfaction that energy-efficient electric cooking devices provide. The program works in close collaboration with NGOs, governments, the private sector, academia, policy representatives, and communities across 16 countries to accelerate the shift from biomass to genuinely clean cooking. In India, the program was launched in the early 2020 and works across the intersection of policy, finance, supply chain, and promotion of electric cooking to enable the transition to modern fuels for cooking. It supports India's emergence as a global hub for manufacturing clean cooking devices for domestic as well as for international market. Aligned with the Atmanirbhar Bharat and Make in India missions, which were launched by the government in during the last decade. Now, it is also aligned to the Government of India's policy of Go Electric, which promotes electric cooking along with the electric mobility, and also LIFE, which stand for Lifestyle for Environment campaign, another scheme, environmental mission launched by the Government of India. Next slide, please. It is about the talk series. I mean, we have already completed, as I told you, the first 3 phases, each having 12 sessions, and we are into 4th now. We are only halfway because it is the 6th session of the phase 4 series, and the topic is about the cookware, which has to be compatible to the electric cooking induction cooker devices. And as I say, that there are more than 2,600 registration global, and more than 2,000 plus participants have attended these sessions so far. So that has been a very successful in raising awareness about the need for transition from unclean cooking to the electric cooking. Next slide. I think that was the only slide. Thank you very much. Uh, Now, about the topic which is being discussed today, I would just like to give you a very brief introduction kind of thing. That induction stoves, as you know, it offers speed, safety, and energy efficiency compared to the conventional stoves, making them increasingly popular across the globe in kitchens. Although the technology has long been there and already being utilized quite extensively in Europe or US, it is now gaining momentum in India as well. As gas stoves, which contribute to environmental concern, more home owners or those who are doing the cooking job at home is opting for eco-friendly options like induction stoves. Now, induction cook stove differs from conventional cooking because it uses an electromagnetic field to heat pots directly instead of relying on flames or heating elements such as coil, which is we use in conventional electric cookers. Now, consequently, this cooking process is more efficient, energy efficient, I mean, because the heat comes from within the pot rather than outside. Now, since, as I said, the electromagnetic waves are used to cook and produce heat, induction cooking requires magnetic cookware. So that is a very special requirement. Now, this type of cookware must be made of or contain ferromagnetic materials like cast iron or stainless steel. This technique provides accurate temperature regulation and energy efficiency, making it a favored option for contemporary kitchens. Also ensure that the pots and pans have a level bottom to ensure they make complete contact with the cooking surface. Now, these are the correct cookware guarantees that your induction cooker stove functions at its best and is as efficient as possible. Now, you can't use some of those which we have been using in a conventional kitchen, like you can't use ceramic cookware, you can't use non-magnetic stainless steel made cookware, pots with stands, or heat-resistant glass or copper cookware. These kind. So the need for induction compatible utensil is considered, I mean, it has been considered a significant barrier to the widespread adoption of induction cook stoves in India. This is primarily due to the associated extra cost involved and incompatibility of most of the traditional Indian cookware. Consumers may be hesitant to switch to induction due to lack of awareness about compatibility and the cookware options, or even a misunderstanding of which of the existing utensil might work or might not work. So that's also an awareness need. Some still believe compatible cookware is scarce and expensive, though many affordable options are available today. Now, to discuss this issue in detail, we are very fortunate to have a panel of experts who will be sharing their experience and their thoughts and information on the subject, mainly about the compatible cookware. Now, to take this forward, I would like to invite Dr. Nick Rousseau to moderate the discussion. Now, just to introduce Dr. Nick, he has over 20 years of experience from the UK government, where his final role was Head of International Innovation Strategy at the Department of Business Innovation and Skills. In this role, he led the innovation strand of the Newton program and spearheaded government to government policy dialogues. Through his consultancy, Unconventional Connections, Nick has advanced innovation collaboration, including work funded by DFID, to leverage the UK's strength in clean energy technology to expand access to clean energy in Africa and Southeast Asia. He also has a strong personal interest in sustainable food solution and founded the Woven Network in 2015, a UK-based community for professionals working on insect protein. Nick holds a Bachelor of Arts, Master in Science, and PhD degree in psychology from the Universities of Cambridge, Loughborough, and Sheffield, with a specialization in psychology and user-centered system design. Within the MECS program, he serves as one of the International Liaison Manager for India. So, welcome, Dr. Nick, and over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Sina, for that introduction and the setting the scene. Okay, so great to see so many people on the line, and I recognise a lot of the names, both from within India and overseas. I think that illustrates that this topic is of considerable interest to all those in the global south. And in fact, my own home, we have induction to cook with, so I've been scrutinising our cookware in the light of the information that I've been picking up through these discussions. So I think this is going to be a really pertinent and important session, and I'm very grateful for the 4 panelists from different companies to talk about their role and perspective on this. Before that, we've got Dr. Nigel Scott, who's going to introduce the topic in some detail and give some of the technical aspects of it to help everyone who's on the call to understand. I should say that my role as moderator is partly to keep us to time and partly to spot any questions that people want to raise in the chat, or if they have any topics that they'd like to see discussed in greater depth. If you would like to introduce yourselves in the Teams chat, feel free to do that. Give your name, contact details, where you work, who you're operating with, what you do. Then that can help to build further connections across the community. Okay, I will now move us on to the meat. So Dr. Nigel Scott is Director of Gamos. You may or may not have heard of Gamos, but it is a partner along with Loughborough University in leading the MECS program. So Dr. Nigel Scott is one of the senior team there. He has over 20 years experience in research into energy in low-income communities. And within the MECS program, he leads on curating data from across various MECS activities and provides technical input to both the design and analysis of data-based activities. And I'm sure my colleagues would agree that I look to Nigel as being a really solid expert in anything data related, and I'm currently working with him on some projections to make sure they are well grounded and carefully thought through. He holds a PhD in electrical engineering from Imperial College London, and he recently wrote a blog post on the need for compatible cookware in order to support induction cooking. So we thought he could start the session with some slides based on that blog post. Nigel, I look forward to seeing your presentation.
Thank you, Nick, for that generous introduction. Let me see if I can share some slides that I think we shared earlier to some people. Is that coming up? Can you see that?
Yep, that's perfect. Thank you.
Lovely. So thank you very much to Finovista and the team for inviting me to join you this afternoon. Good afternoon to everyone. I'm delighted to see that we have some manufacturers on the panel. So we have people who really know what they're talking about and who are dealing with the hard edge of dealing with customers. So, and I'd also like to thank Mr. Sina for his very comprehensive introduction to both the benefits of induction cooking and the issues associating with selecting appropriate cookware. So I won't really dwell on the technology side of things because I think he's already dealt with quite a lot of that. But let me tell you a little bit about how we as the MECS program got particularly interested in induction cookware. So as Mr. Sin also mentioned, there is mounting evidence that induction cooking is becoming cost effective, cost competitive with traditional fuels. And one of the things we've done in many countries is create cookbooks, which have served two functions. One is to provide some recipes that have been adapted for cooking in induction or electric pressure cookers. And the other thing is to try and demonstrate the cost that's required to cook a certain number of dishes using different technologies. We were working with partners in Bhutan on such cookbook, and they found that the amount of energy used to cook in their stovetop pressure cookers on an induction stove was actually more than they were using in a conventional hot plate. And they thought, they spotted this wasn't quite what they were expecting. So interestingly, they went out and bought another stovetop pressure cooker, and they tried that, and they found then that the energy consumption dropped. So this was just a small chart that they put in the bottom of their report, and we spotted this, and which is what sparked our interest, that they were saving, or there was a 25% difference in the energy consumption when using two nominally induction compatible stovetop pressure cookers. So that got us thinking about, well, what is the difference in the materials that are going into the compatible cookware products? So a little bit of physics. I won't, as I said, most of this has been dealt before with fluctuating magnetic fields, and that's what generates sort of an opposite collapsing and changing a magnetic field in the base of the pot, which has to be ferromagnetic, as we've already been told. As that magnetic field rapidly builds and collapses, it's generating these eddy currents in the base of the pot, and these eddy currents generating heat through a combination of both electrical resistance and magnetic hysteresis. That's what generates the heat. So it's those properties of the material that we are most interested: the electrical resistivity of the material and the magnetic properties. So again, it's already been said, steels are very good, aluminium, copper, not so good, but they have other properties. But what we've also discovered, and exactly as we've been told, there are certain grades of steel which are the ferritic steels are very good and highly magnetic. Other stainless steels have other very good qualities in terms of strength, corrosion resistance, shiny and looking nice, but they may not be highly magnetic. So they're not ideal. They may look good, they may be called stainless steel, but they don't actually work very well with induction stoves. And we think that's some of the things we need to be a little bit careful of, but we'll be very interested to hear what our panelists have to say about that. But we're not completely stuck with a single material. So many of the manufacturers are using multiple materials. So you can use a magnetic steel for the outer layer in order to transfer energy from the stove to the pot. And then you can use the other materials in a layered construction to give you other additional properties that may be attractive. So it wants to look nice and shiny on the inside. You want even heat distribution, so you might use aluminium and copper, which are much better at conducting heat. So that's sort of mostly what we've been dealing with in the blog that was mentioned earlier. But more recently, we've been contacted by a number of programs and country programs who are interested in promoting induction cooking, and they're asking us, well, how do we know? Okay, we know we need to provide cookware, because the worst thing is for our customers to buy an induction stove, put their old stove on it and find it doesn't work. So many manufacturers and programs are interested in supplying a bundle of stove plus the cookware, which makes a lot of sense, but they're asking us, well, how do we know if the cookware is good? So we talked about compatibility, and obviously just sticking a magnet on the bottom is a good indication of compatibility. But that kind of energy transfer compatibility is not necessarily the only element of quality. So we've been just trying to think together of some of the other aspects of what might indicate a good quality product. Obviously, it has to work on the induction, but there are many aspects of quality. And here on the slide, I've just identified a few of those. So, well, those are our the things we've got so far. I'd be really interested to hear from the panelists what we're missing and how we can improve our guidance that we're giving to people who come to us. So I think that's all I really wanted to say at this point by way of an introduction to the topic and where the MECS program is and what our priorities. So very interested to hear the conversation and the questions coming to the panelists. Thank you very much, Nick. Over to you.
Thanks, Nigel. And I think I'm just reflecting, this is a nice example of how MECS operates, that we're always trying to learn from real experience on the ground of people cooking. We try to set up things so that we can collect hard data, and that then leads us often down these avenues of exploration. And it's a fascinating topic, and yeah, it's just so many different aspects to it. Anyway, coming back to the matter at hand, again, just to remind you all, if anything from what Nigel said has stimulated or raised a question for you, then do put it in the chat. Do introduce yourselves in the chat, tell us who's listening and the kind of things you're doing so that you can find partners. But we're now going to move into the panel discussion. We've got 4 distinguished and very knowledgeable people from the world of business, particularly supplying electric cooking solutions to India. And maybe beyond. And we've asked each of them to prepare some comments, some statement about how they approach this question of cookware compatibility. And specifically, we've asked about availability and affordability of cooking utensils in India, how the quality of the cookware impacts on energy efficiency, as from their knowledge, how they have seen people being educated, or how consumers can be informed about compatibility, and what's the sort of the technology readiness level, how well into the market are some of these products, and how do they kind of handle the cost side of it, if you're having to invest in compatible utensils. So there's quite a lot of different angles on this, quite a lot of different questions, but a lot of it is about the kind of engagement with the customer to really help them to find a solution which works for them. Because as Nigel rightly said, if people are using induction but with the wrong kind of cookware, then they won't get the benefits of it. They won't get that efficient conversion of electricity into heat. Okay, right, enough from me. I'm now going to introduce our first panelist, who is Mr. Adesh Saxena, who serves as the General Manager and Head of the National Efficient Cook Stove Programme at EESL, which is one of our partners in India. He's advanced the adoption of energy efficient appliances through innovative channels and e-commerce platforms, as well as direct-to-consumer initiatives in collaboration with CSCs and state livelihood missions. Nigel, I'm going to ask you to stop sharing your slides, and hopefully Mr. Adesh can be prepared. Mr. Saxena has extensive experience in designing and implementing large-scale energy efficiency projects, and his experience spans sector-specific policy formulation as well as the development of project design documents. And I'm very glad to see that some slides have appeared from EESL. So, Mr. Saxena, would you like to introduce yourself and respond to the questions and tell us what you're doing in relation to cookware compatibility?
Yeah, thank you, Nick. Thank you, Mr. Sanath. Thank you, MECS, for inviting. And good afternoon, good evening, everyone. So I hope that my slide is visible.
It is visible. You're not in presentation mode. That's the only thing. So you might want to
change. Let me change to presentation mode.
Right, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, so I would like to briefly, I believe that considering the number of panelists and I would be focusing majorly and taking very limited time that what EESL has been doing in the field and what our experience has basically made us learn, and not for us only but to the other players as well in the industry, that the learning can be mutually shared with them about the cookware compatibility, because this is one of the major key challenges which is usually, though it is dependent on the technology, but again what happens is that uh, that if these protocols are not properly followed, then the effective utilization of both the equipment, whether the cook stove or the utensil, in terms of delivering the desired result, will not be achieved. So just a brief synopsis about EESL. We started our journey in 2009, and we are a public sector entity under the aegis of Ministry of Power, and it's a JV company under four major public sector undertakings of Government of India, which are NTPC, Power Grid, REC, and PFC. We have various funding partners at World Bank, KfW, AFD, and ADB. And since then, we have been implementing large scale national level projects on lighting and other energy efficiency measures. But since last 2 years, we are into now a field of clean cooking as well. So this is just a brief about the group of companies EESL has. Okay, so jumping straight forward to the point, then when we talk about just to cover the basics that though it is aware, most of the people know, but still it is pertinent to mention. So the material point of view, the cast iron, stainless steel, and carbon utensils are the compatible material. Then there are chances, and this we have learned from our experience also, that we are getting the complaint from the Women and Child Development Department centers, where we have deployed more than 11,000 induction cook stove along with the utensils. There we have got the information that the induction is not working. And then later on, we came to know that it's not working because the aluminum or some other type glass-based, material-based utensils were utilized. So it's very simple and basic, but the end user, if he is not aware, then there is no use of giving them an induction cook stove. So the impact would only come when the proper information in terms of that how this particular thing runs. Let's say when we talk about the safety, everybody is aware about the protocols attached with the LPG safety, and it is by default in the roots of everyone now. Everybody knows it. Similar manner, the operational mechanism, a basic operational understanding of or the functioning of induction is very important to be told to the people, along with the type, the compatibility of the cookware. So just a few things which I have just broadly listed in terms of the test, the design advantage, that it has to be a flat bottom, the curved bottom type of cookware will not work. Then comes that it's a major fact, and I believe that in some study it has been already covered, but that incompatible utensil usually, in terms of not having the proper flat or the proper grade of material, the efficiency really goes down. So when we talk about the trend and the initiative, although the market is moving, but not at the speed which is desired to make the clean cooking adaptability as far as it should be. So EESL, in our tender, we have also encouraged the department to basically not only just procure the e-cook stove, induction cook stove, but also allow us to provide them a complete set of the utensils also. Why? Again, the same reason, that incompatibility could result into the non-performance of the equipment, or the improper, or the desired result which are to be required to be achieved can be um, uh, received from that initiative. So, of course, there is a lot of opportunity. There are new companies who are making the different type of or aluminum-based utensil. Now they are also coming and making not only the stainless steel, but also the compatible, induction compatible cookwares. And they are now, the business model is also shifting. So this shift is, which is, we expect that this should be there by the demand created by companies like EESL. Then comes the hybrid type of utensil, which can be, which is widely used in India and which is readily available, that it can be utilized on the LPG as well as on the induction. Similarly, the multi-layered, this is something new which is happening now, where the multi-layered, where the outside or the inside layer are steel, but in between both the layers there is layer of aluminum to ensure the proper heat distribution. Because a normal simple steel-based utensil is working, but the heat dissipation or the distribution is not proper. So these are very small things, but it is really appreciating to know that the industry is now taking care of all these things, because the Indian traditional method have been very inefficient since the very beginning when we talk about the cooking, and a lot of energy is wasted in that. So the next step after this should be that the smart just hold on. Yeah. So some, I hope I am audible now. So the smart sensor based, proper heat indicators based type of cookware should be introduced. And they are already now being manufactured, but the adoption is not at that level. When we talk, as I earlier covered, that the user awareness and the behavioral aspect is very important. If the first of all, that the cost is still very high when we talk about the induction compatible. Though the induction might be on the cheaper side, but the utensil with the stainless steel grade, and again with the proper base, the utensil is usually heavy in quality, and that's why the cost goes up. So the low income household basically are not able to adopt it. So the enough or the escalated economies of the scale should bring the prices down. So higher the adoption, higher the demand, the higher the production would be, and then subsequently the prices could be made affordable for lower income people as well. Although from the awareness point of view, the government role is very important, because the normal part of the society where because everybody is utilizing LPG cook stove or something in their home to make the cooking, but some kind of incentives should be there, and the adoption should be from top to bottom. The government department should be encouraged to move towards the adoption of the induction and subsequently the compatible cookware. So that's why the program like NECP, the National Efficient Cooking Program, the EESL is managing, is very important and plays a significant role. Also, in part of that program, because this is the learning now we are getting on the way while implementing the program, and 44,000 more Anganwadi Kendras are yet to be covered. So we are trying to include that learning also, and we are trying to bridge the gap of awareness in terms of the utilization. Proper outreach in terms of the demonstration is, of course, will play a significant role. Industry is already introduced, is ready, they are making, but a far more robust quality control mechanism in terms of the labeling of these cookware should be there. The one part which gets usually includes the excludes that the retail awareness. not only the person who is the end user, but also the seller should be also made aware about the USPs and the basic aspects and the benefits of the induction ready cookware. So at last, in terms of the sustainability and the overall impact which is being generated by the program like the National Efficient Cooking Program, in terms of the social, the durable cooking stove, the quality material should be reaching, and the material, of course, is recyclable, but the overall utilization of the recycling should be at the higher level. Of course, the safe smokeless cooking, and it is the right of an individual, or especially the women who are working in the household. So
to wrap up, please.
Yeah. So I believe that I have covered most of the critical aspects of this from EESL perspective, and would be glad to take some questions on that.
Thank you very much,
Over to you,
Saxena. Thank you. Thank you. Very good. Kind of, I think you set the scene nicely. There's a lot of different aspects and different stakeholders have a role to play in this. So absolutely. Okay, so our next panelist is Ms. Akila Chandrasekar. I hope I'm pronouncing that nearly right. And she is the Senior General Manager and Head of Marketing at TTK Prestige, a brand and a company which you'll be all very familiar, I'm sure. Ms. Chandrasekar is a seasoned marketing leader with over 20 years experience across FMCG, retail and the wellness sectors. And she's known for building strong brand strategies, transforming consumer experiences and driving innovation-led marketing. At TTK Prestige, she focuses on modernizing communication, strengthening category leadership, and connecting with new age home and kitchen consumers through digital and insight-driven campaigns. So very interested in your perspective on this issue as you engage with consumers in lots of different ways. Over to you, Ms. Chandrasekar.
Right. Thank you so much. Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Nigel. Thanks, Sinan. We are making the cookwares for India for about 75 years, and we've been kind of seeing the transition that has happened towards more eco-friendly, more efficiency based cooking that has started. And I think the EESL projects and how it was explained on the different kind of cookwares that have recently been seen in the market. To just step back, I think I would just say that induction cooktops have a good percentage of penetration in India. And earlier, this was largely because of the LPG, the gas, which is normally used for cooking, being a more stringent process to actually get. And this helped in, and Prestige was one of the initial brands to introduce, it was one of the first brands to introduce induction cooktops in India. And therefore, it also became one of the earlier brands to launch induction cooktop compatible cookware. And the initial process that we started, because aluminium was the base that most cookwares used, including Prestige, which was out in the market. The initial process that was used to make it induction compatible, of course, was like, as was just spoken before me, the sandwich base. So on aluminium, there was a steel plate that was kind of sandwiched or embedded onto the cooktop. And that was the first set that was introduced to be compatible. Eventually, SS stainless steel materials came out. But there has always been an apprehension on stainless steel cooking, because Indian cooking is a lot about flame control. And the stainless steel cookware does not allow for even heating. So it tends to burn at the base where there is direct contact with the heat, and the dissipation across the body doesn't happen that fast. So it was not so easily adopted, which would have been easier for all of us, because it would have been the ideal cookware that could have been compatible with the induction cooktop. And in recent times, therefore, to use the aluminium property of even heating, which is very important for Indian kind of cooking. And the SS property of being induction compatible is where the 3-layer or the tri-ply kind of cookware, which is what was spoken about recently as a 3-layer cookware. So this is now gaining a huge popularity. It is growing at very high double digits vis-a-vis the aluminum cookware, which is seeing a bit of a slowdown or even a decrease. And this is driven both by health considerations also. So that has also been playing to our advantage, because aluminium cookware has a certain connotation of not being healthy for consumption. And SS and tri-ply are therefore seeing a huge growth on the back of that. So that helps our case for being induction compatible materials. 70% of the market of our range is actually induction compatible based. All our cookwares that we sell, and it is it's higher in cookers. The cookers that we make have it's a higher percentage. Cookwares we have not completely converted to induction base, because I'm not sure how familiar Nick, Nigel, or everybody who's joined us from the international countries are about India cooking. But we have a cookware called the kadhai, which is a curved structure. And that is where we make most of our vegetables or curries. And when that, because of its inherent structure, the curvature of that product does not, it tends to wobble on an induction base. You know, it's more suited for a gas top kind of a pan support. So this always has this decision making by the consumer. So at no stage will she have only one cookware at home. By default, there will be a set of induction compatible cookware, but there will also be something that I make on the cooktop, because some of these cookwares are not compatible for, unless you make them flat bottom, which is really the pans, which is why our cooker range is much higher on induction cooktop, because it is a flat base. And that is that lends itself better to be on a induction cooktop. On rice cookers, which is the other aspect that we've launched, and not just induction, but there is a rice cooker operates with the similar concept that was explained in terms of the coils and the hob. And we also there is a huge base of rice cookers in which you can put the cooking can be done without using the gas stove and use a rice cooker instead. And yeah, so I think there's a question, Nick. I'll take it now. Sorry, I think you're on mute.
I am, it's correct. Sorry. No, I was just wanting to signal that your time, if you could kind of wrap up.
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay. Yeah,
sure, of course. Just one other point, which is that what is helping people shift from the aluminium to a more induction cooktop friendly cookwares is actually also the health driven decisions. So that is actually helping people move away from more of the non compatible cookware to a more compatible cookware. So I think that's it.
Great, thank you. Sorry for interrupting you.
No, not a problem at all.
Great to hear your progress and your learning as well. I think this is a fascinating area, and I think some of the questions in the chat are coming up about affordability, which we will have to come back to, I think, because clearly a tri-ply product is going to be more costly to manufacture.
Yes.
Okay. So I will now introduce our next panelist, who is Mr. Saswat Mahapatra, who is the product head at Stovekraft Ltd. With over a decade of experience in product strategy, brand building and consumer insights, Mr. Mahapatra has been instrumental in driving innovation and shaping market-leading portfolios in the home and kitchen appliance space. He believes in the power of good design and collaboration to create meaningful products, and at Stovekraft his leadership reflects a deep understanding of Indian consumers and a passion for developing products that are practical, stylish and deliver real value. So I'm sure you've got a lot to bring to this discussion. I look forward to your remarks, Mr. Mahapatra. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and good evening all. I think most of the points are beautifully covered so far, and from a manufacturer and the marketing point of view standpoint, Miss Akila did cover most of the points. So we, as Pigeon, we are in the business for the past 25 years, and it's been 16 plus years we are selling induction cooktops. And we see the category growing year on year. Now, like Ms. Akila said, induction compatible cookware. The traditional Indian cooking style has a a curved structure, and which most of the women or the homemakers they associate with, and that is a major challenge in introducing the most of the induction compatible cookware. But yes, we are also a kitchen cookware manufacturing company, and we see a growth and acceptability in the market year on year. Let us try and understand who exactly is using the induction cooktop. If you look at the Indian market, induction cooktop is not a primary machine or appliances that is used for cooking. It's always a backup, or is adopted or used by mostly bachelors or students, or it's a backup for if the LPG is over or they need a third burner, or a kind of a makeshift arrangement. That is the major use. So that's the reason why most of the people are not willing to spend a lot of money in buying the induction compatible cookware. This I'm talking majorly about the tier 2 and tier 3 cities, which is your Bharat 2 and 3, which of course is growing slowly. But yes, the awareness level is still low, and roughly 60 plus market share is by the unorganized players who are not branded cookware manufacturers. So there is no standard, manufacturing setup, or you can say the process that is followed, because of which even the life of the induction cooktop goes down significantly. The burn of IGBT, and the cookware stop work. I mean, the cooktop stops working, or you don't get the proper result. Those are the things, because Indian cooking is majorly a slow cook mechanism, or process. So you don't need a high flame, high burning, high wattage kind of a setup to cook Indian food. It's slow burning. So that's why we need really, really good quality cookware to have for this induction cooktops to function properly. I think there's a question.
Sorry,
Okay.
it's from Mr. Anil Desai. I'm going to invite him to speak after the panelists. So do carry on, please.
Okay. And I think most of the points are pretty much covered. If there is any question which I can answer, I would love to respond to it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. No, that your points actually are really helpful, because, as you say, if people are only using this as a backup, then that does affect their willingness to invest. We would love to see people making more use of these cooking solutions and not just have it as a backup, but that's something that will only come with time. And I think this point that a number of people have made about the curved bottom being something which is inherently part of Indian cooking, because it also is about the amount of oil you use, because you can have a small amount of oil. If you have a flat bottom, you have to have the oil across the whole thing, so it becomes less healthy. So I think this is where Mr. Desai might have something to say. He's a well-respected expert in induction cooking. But I'm going to invite our last panelist to speak first, before sort of opening up for the debate and the Q&A. Our next and last panelist is Mr. Hardik Agarwal, Director at Fabiano Appliances. Mr. Agarwal is passionate about driving innovation in the appliance industry, and at Fabiano Appliances he's redefining modern living through cutting-edge solutions. In addition to this role, Hardik is president of Project USPAR, an initiative dedicated to providing access to clean drinking water in urban slums and rural areas. He is also pursuing the CFA qualification, demonstrating a commitment to driving both business excellence and social impact. So, very pleased to meet you and to hear your remarks. Over to you, please, Mr. Agarwal.
Thank you for the introduction, Nick. First of all, I would really appreciate and like to thank Finovista and everyone who is involved in spreading the word regarding e-cooking and what benefits it comes, and whoever has made this conference possible. These topics are really important to make consumer aware, especially in India, because the major problem that Indian consumers have is that they're not much educated regarding these kind of things. So, delving into the topic, firstly, regarding the changing landscape and environment around cooking in India, traditionally people used to use kerosene stove, firewood, and more recently, as many of the panelists noted down, LPG stove. So these cooking solutions have served us well. However, there are many problems that these bring, which includes air pollution, fuel costs, and many carbon emissions are also there. So e-cooking essentially for I think 10 or 15 years have emerged as a cleaner solution for Indian households. However, to understand e-cooking and essentially induction stoves and infrared stoves, we need to understand the cookware that is used essentially on these, because as many of the panelists have noted down very clearly that the traditional kind of utensils, which includes aluminum utensils and brass utensils, are not that efficient on these kind of stoves, right? So first of all, I would like to talk about the affordability and availability of these kind of utensils in India, right? So talking about availability, as these induction stoves have been in the market for more than 10-15 years. So the penetration of these induction stoves is there in India. Now the problem occurs is the mindset and the affordability of normal consumer in India. For example, if you talk about the traditional utensils which were made of aluminum and brass, they costed a set costs around 1,000 rupees. And if you talk about stainless steel utensils, which are compatible with induction stoves, a set can cost anywhere between 3,000 to 4,000 rupees over and above the induction stove that they will be buying. So this is a mindset that people have. That's why Mr. Saswat also pointed out that induction stoves are usually bought by people who as a secondary mechanism, not as a primary cooking mechanism. So this is a problem, or this is a mindset that people have. So talking in a little technical term, induction. If someone uses induction stoves in their house, the efficiency reaches more than 90% compared to around 50, 60, 70%, which occurs in LPG stove or any traditional form of cooking. Now we need to understand the majority population of India, right? So the low income households, which earns traditionally 15,000, 20,000 per month, which roughly is around $200 per month. So in this sense, it's around 20%, 30% of their income they are not willing to spend on induction stoves or SS utensils. But we need to educate the consumers that efficiency is higher. The fuel costs are much lower than the traditional forms of cooking. So in 2, 3, 4 years down the line, it will be much more beneficial for them in terms of money. And secondly, as many of the panelists also pointed out, that aluminum utensils and the traditional forms of utensils, those are very health. They impact one's health, but because they are more they react with metal more. But talking about stainless steel utensil and the e-cooking options, they are much beneficial in their health point of view. So the and induction stoves are also of many kinds. For example, if you talk about infrared stove, they can be used in any kind of utensil, right? They don't work in the electromagnetic property is not needed. So there are many kind of options in e-cooking also, which are available with the consumers that consumers can use. So I think essentially what we have talked about, that awareness to the consumers is very important nowadays in India. And secondly, many of the government agencies, for example, Mr. Adesh, who is working in EESL, they have also started distribution of induction stoves and utensils to make people aware and to start people using these kind of utensils. So yeah, I think the many points and all of the points are covered majorly. And if anyone has any question, I'd like to.
Thank you very much. Yes, I think that you've added some useful additional points about the realities on the ground, and I think there's a lot to think about. So what I'd like to do now is I've been trying to follow the comments in the chat. There's a lot of AI bots that are coming up in the chat. I think this is a sign of the times. We seem to be seeing a lot more AI getting involved in taking meeting notes. But I've spotted a question about affordability, which I think panelists have already been focusing on. And Mr. Anil Desai, who we know of for many years, who is a well-respected expert in induction cooking, particularly targeting the restaurant sector, he wants to make a contribution about some of the technologies which people may or may not be aware of. So I want to invite him to say a few words relatively briefly. But also there's a question which I think is very pertinent, which Richard Seif has asked, which is about, are there types of cookware that can be a compatible. Sorry, I'm muted. Have you not heard any of that? Sorry, apologies if you've been missing that. So I'm going to take some questions now. Mr. Anil Desai, can you give us a brief input from your expertise around maybe some of the points that have been made? Are you still on the call? Okay, well, I'll give you a chance to unmute yourself. The other question that I was wanting to explore with people is, are there types of cookware that are compatible both with induction and with gas? Are the three-ply ones, which are steel and aluminium combined, do they also work on gas? Because I think that is a part of the way forward in terms of affordability. If people are having to buy things which are just for induction, then that becomes an additional cost. If they can gradually convert to cookware that works across all these different types of fuel, as people say, they tend to stack and use multiple ones. Someone's just pointed out that the delegates may not be able to unmute themselves. I'm not sure if Finovista can enable Mr. Desai to speak if they have the control over muting and unmuting. Thanks, Simon,
yes,
for pointing that out.
Mr. Desai can speak. If anyone wants to speak, just raise their hands and I will allow the mic.
Thank you, Satyam. So is Mr. Desai still there? I can't immediately see. But, okay, well, maybe while we're sorting that out, would any of the panelists like to comment from their knowledge of whether there are cookware materials that would work in all settings, gas and induction? Does anyone have any knowledge about that?
Yes, I mean, if I can just speak.
Yes, please.
Yes, all induction-based cookware can be used on the gas.
Okay, and all the other properties are still there. The kind of heat distribution and everything.
Yes, everything. And cookware like tri-ply, doesn't even have a separate base for induction. So as long as the base is SS stainless steel, there is no problem. It's the same product to be used on both.
Okay, I'm looking at Richard's question. He was saying, are there particular properties which gas utensils need, which are different? So again, are there things that maybe are optimized for gas that might then become less suitable? But maybe not. No? Okay.
It's vice
All right.
versa.
Thank you. I think the other point that's interesting is about the curved or the flat bottom point, because an induction stove does rely on a good level of contact, direct physical contact between itself and the dish, the cookware that it's supposed to be heating. And some of the innovation that we're seeing, and I think Mr. Desai is aware of this, is in curved bottomed, curved shaped induction cooking appliances, where you can put a kadai, is that the right phrase? Into that or a wok and achieve much greater level of heat transfer from the induction to the metal and the food. I don't know if anyone has experience of that. They may be more specialist and therefore less less affordable. Okay, there's some interesting things. I would encourage you all to look at the chat. There's some great connections. People are introducing themselves, sharing who they are and where they work and giving links, which is always great to find out who else is out there. Nigel, you put your hand up. Over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. I wasn't specifically able to respond to your question about the curved pots. My understanding is that there are now induction cook stoves appearing on the market that do have a curved bottom. So that's very common in many Asian markets. So I think that is on its way. The other thing you've mentioned is that the cookware must have, you described it as a physical contact with the cooktop. And that's not quite my understanding, because all it needs to be is it needs to be close enough for the magnetic fields from the pancake coil in the cooktop to couple with the magnetic base of the pot. So I know Simon's done a lot of experiments where he's sort of put layers of paper between the cooktop and then he's put the pan on top of the layers of paper, and it will still work. Yes, if you introduce a gap, it reduces the efficiency with which energy is transferred, but it will still work. And our feeling is that induction is probably more tolerant of bashes and dents in the base of a pot than other electric cooking technologies. Obviously, if you have a gas with a flame, it really doesn't matter the shape of the bottom of the pot. So small point of clarification. Thank you.
No, that is really helpful. Just to respond to that. Oh, go on then. Go on.
Yeah, it's a very good point which you made that nowadays we are getting induction cooktops which has a curvature, but that's majorly to fit a wok kind of a thing, okay, which is used in very selected markets. But when you look at the major cookware, one is a kadai, the second is a tawa, it's a flat bottom base, and a saucepan. Now these cookware, they need it's a mix of flat bottom as well as a curved bottom. Okay, so if you give a curved glass, it is not compatible with all the cookware that is available, or rather the majority of the cookware that is available. And I believe this is one major reason why infrared cooktops are gaining popularity in India, majorly in the small price-sensitive markets. And also, thanks to the Indian cooking style, we love to roast and, be it the, the Indian bread, that is chapati, or, we make balls of chapati in major parts of East and Rajasthan. So these are the corn. The corn is again roasted and consumed. So these are the cooking habits, okay, which is making the infrared very popular among the consumers.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree. And also, I think we're seeing it also in sort of specialist street vendors and restaurant eateries where they cook large quantities similarly. Mr. Agarwal, you've made yourself visible, so I imagine you'd like to contribute.
Yes. Adding on to Saswat, so essentially what the cooking utensils, the sandwich bottom and the tri-ply, their mechanism is that the bottommost layer is stainless steel 430 grade, right? It is magnetic in nature. The only purpose of that grade is that it detects the electromagnetic fields in the induction stove, right? The aluminum, you can say the aluminum strip in between those two SS grade, the sandwich, which is in between. It is basically for heat dispersion, right? So it doesn't matter that, you know, if even if the 430 grade, the SS grade is touching the induction stove and it is detecting the electromagnetic field, the heat will automatically go to the aluminum base, which is in between the SS grade. So the aluminum will naturally and automatically disperse the heat, right, which will go inside the utensil. So this is the mechanism which is followed essentially.
Okay, thank you, thank you. And Nigel's point about the not having to touch is answered one of the questions I had, because I always thought, well, if you've got a curved shape, surely you need to have an exactly same curved vessel. But if it doesn't have to be absolutely 100% touching, then that would mean that you can just have one that's still more in touch than it would be if it was flat. Okay, Mr. Anil Desai, you're there. Would you like to speak?
Okay, I will be as short as possible because I have been using domestic induction for last more than 18 to 20 years. And I have experimented with various vessels, which is stainless steel. And my findings I have sent to Vimal as well as Satyam few days back. Now, I do not agree to many of the points which have been disclosed by the speakers here. And two of the major ones is you don't need to buy special vessels for induction cooking. Round bottom vessels will work if they are stainless steel. You just take them in your hand and see whether they are lightweight or little more weight. If they are lightweight, they are bound to work on inductions. So there are two things. One is you don't need to buy extra vessels to start with. For example, you cook for 2, 3, 4 months and then if you want to buy, you buy. Otherwise, you can keep on cooking. My wife cooks for last 12, 13 years on the same vessels, which are non-magnetic. One, and two, they are round bottom. Third part is that you do vertical cooking. So those videos I have already shot, and I would just request all those people who want to learn more about it, they can contact me. Satyam has got my numbers and I will share these videos to you. Right? Because we are more into commercial inductions, that is altogether a different ball game. So I'll be short and sweet. Yes, there is no need for special buying of vessels and spend 3,000 to 5,000 rupees on them, because every house who has got steel vessels, 80 to 90% of the vessels will work. Right.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Sorry, I don't want to cut you off. I'm conscious of time. We've gone over the hour, but I'm more than happy to carry on the discussion. It's clearly topical, and I know people will want to respond. And if you all get on the mailing list, then Finovista will be able to share the resources that Mr. Desai just talked about. I think, yes, so Simon has responded to your comment about steel. Yes, steel is magnetic, so it will work, but there are still different grades of steel, which Nigel was pointing out, and I don't understand the implications and the technicalities of that. I think what this says to me, just to kind of conclude, is that this is a complex topic, and it is, again, it comes back to this question about how do you help consumers to navigate it? How can they be clearly given messages about what will work, what won't work? And the EESL's experience is that a lot of people who were using their induction devices were then complaining, saying they're not working. So again, they hadn't been made aware of what kinds of materials would be relevant and significant. So they clearly are materials out there that are not, like aluminium and copper, it's been said. So there's still, I think, a question about how we as a community can share good, simple messages to people about what's compatible. And I know that's something that Richard is looking at in Nepal as well. And I'm sure other colleagues across the global south need to find a solution to this. So I think this is not going to be the end of this discussion. And we're very interested in your research evidence, Mr. Desai. I think that's critical that we build on an evidence-based approach. But maybe we should come back to this. I know Richard Seif has drafted some guidance to help consumers and to help programs to ensure that people do have compatible and work cookware that will work with their devices. So maybe that's something again that we can develop collectively and people can contribute to or debate offline. Does anyone want to make any final? And Richard, would you like to? Are you still there? Talk about what you're doing and offer any opportunities for people to get involved. You may or may. Yeah, Richard, are you able to unmute yourself? I'm not sure if you can. Satyam, can you enable Richard to speak? Oh, Richard says he can't unmute. Oh, I think you're unmuted now, Richard. Try now. Yeah.
Hi, Nick. Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, just to briefly flag that, yes, as you mentioned, there's a blog that Nigel and myself have put together, which is in a way a companion piece to the earlier MECS blog that Nigel put together on assessing the quality, assessing the importance of different types of induction cookware and how that can make a big difference. And so this new blog focuses on non-technical guidelines for assessing the quality of induction cookware, and it responds to points raised in Nepal and other places about you can have the information about what makes a good piece of induction cookware, but in practical terms, how do you then use that? Because I mean, you can't cut open a pan to see if the layered composition. So yes, it should be out next week. It's with the comms team. So yeah.
Richard, what would you suggest if people want to offer a contribution to that going forward?
Yeah, just yeah, the blog ends with a point that it's a working document, and you know, there's points been raised today that would be already very valuable towards that, and if others can contribute, would warmly welcome that. And I can leave my email in the chat, and then we can look to see how we can integrate that into the blog. So yeah, warmly welcomed any feedback and responses.
Thank you. I don't know if there's anyone in the Indian context from the Bureau of Energy Efficiency, but this feels like an area where some standardized messaging is vitally needed, and ideally some kind of standard to kind of inform the consumer in a way which they will trust. Yeah, I think this is not the end of this discussion. Thank you everyone for contributing. It's been really lively and interesting, and I look forward to many of you coming on these talk series and maybe meeting some of you again in future. Mr. Desai, do you want to wrap up?
Thank you, Nick, for moderating it. Anything Mr. Desai would like to speak on? Okay.
I think he's probably had to go. He said he only had limited time.
Okay, problem. Anyway, thank you everybody, all participants. It has been a very lively discussion, and number of questions were raised and answered also to some extent. And that is how we spread the awareness about the electric cooking. So, I mean, that is the objective of this talk series. So glad to be here, and hope everybody was benefited. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.